Show me your moves.
Coming in at number 2 on my list of underrated, underappreciated, underplayed and heavily forgotten cards is a golden oldie. It's Mox Sapphire. Not only do many people disregard how strong this card is because of how shit blue is in comparison to green in Cube, for example, but its power level just isn't apparent on the surface. Some people see that as a 0 mana cost mana rock and think it's basically an island. It can be killed by Shatter. But you're quite incorrect. It's actually pretty good, contrary to popular opinion. Wait, what did you say? It's not 1993? Okay then, Smarty Pants, this is widely regarded as one of your Super 9 cards, then why is no one playing it in Commander? Sorry, it's banned. Huh. Oh, you're saying it's banned not only on power level, but availability and cost as well? Huh. You mean to tell me that Soul Ring is legal, which is arguably just as powerful as the Mox is? It's a card that's only found in Powered Cube, it's pointed, maybe a little bit less, but similarly in pointed Highlander formats? Oh, okay, so it's prohibitively expensive due to an incredibly bad decision and oversight on the part of Wizards of the Coast that still restricts the access to older formats and keeps its non-rotating Eternal formats in a stranglehold, a financial choke point position where demand far outweighs supply and newer players are stuck longingly looking at these beautiful pieces of history and power from behind both metaphorical and literal glass at vendors at events. I guess you could say the reserve list was a fucking mistake. Okay, so I guess all jokes aside, the Mox Sapphire and all the other Moxen aren't considered underplayed gems, thus no one can afford to really own them to play them. But what if I told you there's a way to play with cards like Mox Sapphire in an environment that isn't vintage or Highlander, and for once I wasn't gushing about how great Cube is? Look, I just really like Cube, okay? Don't kink shame me. What if I told you I could turn this absolute pieces of shit like Everflowing Chalice into your very own Mox Sapphire? What if I told you I had found a home for your now discarded and unusable Paradox engines that I personally got banned with the power of my powerful eyebrows?
Show me your moves.
No, this isn't a pyramid scheme, and no, it's not a timeshare in the Cotswolds. And it's definitely not a pot of overpriced pills that promises to increase your virility and libido, but just leaves you with a spotted dick. Interesting aside, spotted dick is actually a cake or pudding in the UK, although I've never had it myself. This, my friends, is your new favourite modern deck. This is Urza's P.O. Box. Hi, I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. I'm the Magic the Gathering content creator equivalent of writing up, recording, editing, and making this well thought out introduction that hopes to set the tone for the following video, whilst giving in-game, meta, and historical context to the proceedings, whilst also being dotted with jokes and references, only to have capitalist Blowjob54 tell you in the comment section, the intro is too long! I couldn't keep myself erect! Send help! Send help! Urza is making waves in Modern. Now that Wizards of the Coast has finally swallowed their pride and actually banned Hogak, we are now seeing what other monsters were hidden in that particularly premium priced closet. Modern Horizons Booster should not have been premium priced. That is a hill I am not willing to necessarily die on, but I will occasionally stand up upon it and screech into the unforgiving void of the internet. Urza has found its home in 3, 4, and I guess sometimes even 5 colour word decks that are now being affectionately called Urza. It's a cool name, but I ain't into that pedestrian normie shit. Let's get spicy.
Hello, spicy people of the internet. I've ranked every Magic the Gathering card with the letter H in it in order of ludonarrative dissonance.
No, Conrad, get out of my video, get out! Get out of my head! Get out of my... Urza's P.O. Box is a grindy combo deck that can sometimes go all in and essentially go infinite, but other times can grind out a win through huge amounts of card advantage generated by nonsense cards like Sai Master Thopterist and Urza Lord High Artificer. The core of the deck is to produce lots of artifact tokens via Sai Master Thopterist or Saheeli, I can't remember her name, I didn't write it down, Saheeli with the, whatever the suffix is, the 3 mana one from War of the Spark. We then can look to produce lots of mana with Urza by tapping these artifacts and also just casting lots of cheap, shitty artifacts that generate the tokens and give us artifacts to tap for blue mana, basically creating lots of Mox Sapphires. This alone can sometimes allow us to win the game, however we can also go full combo value town by using the mana from Urza to paradoxically outcome the smaller artifacts back to hand, floating mana, generating tokens on the way, and in turn creating mana ourselves that we can float in our pool and use later. Our win conditions are either beating them to death with a huge Urza construct, beating them to death with 1,000 Thopters or Servos, or using Girapet Aether Grid to end their fucking career. The deck will make more sense once we show it in motion. There's a lot of moving parts, so I'm not going to go dwelling on the deck tech too much right now. Let's crack on with some gameplay. Don't forget that this video and all content on this channel is brought to you by channelfirewall.com, my primary sponsor, your #1 source for Magic strategy, entertainment, and all the Magic Fest goodness. If you're buying anything from channelfirewall.com's website, or booking your tickets or Fnatic package for Magic Fest, be sure to use the word Kenobi in the code section to help support the channel. I am at one more Magic Fest before the year is out, and that's going to be GP or Magic Fest Bologna in November. So if you're going to go play some Legacy in Bologna or see the sights of Italia, then come say hi. I would love to meet you. Right, let's open this fucking post box. Pretty much any hand with a Snowland and an Astrolabe is worth keeping, so we keep this. Opponent leads Tarn, we cantrip further into our deck with Astrolabia and pass back. Our opponent end of turn fetches a Sacred Foundry, untaps and casts my beloved Stoneforge Mystic. For those of you living under a rock for the past 2 weeks, or those of you with real world lives and grown up adult responsibilities that might sometimes get in the way of you keeping up to date with a really fast moving changes in a luxury collectible strategy card game, Stoneforge Mystic is now unbanned. Yep, it was all me. It was my campaign, it was my calling for it, I did this. You can send any thanks to my PO box address that's on screen now, or you can just, when you see me in the street go, thanks Vince. Yeah, beautiful bastard. An interesting side effect of this is that people ask me what my new jingle will be. If you didn't know, I ironically used this jingle. Let's keep Stoneforge Mystic banned in modern, to reference the fact that Stoneforge Mystic was banned in the format whilst other ludicrous bullshit still remained legal. The easiest thing to do would be to change the word banned to unbanned, but that seems like a cop-out. That seems like easy mode. So instead today I'm launching my new campaign. Enjoy. Splinter Twin did nothing wrong. Don't forget the lyrics to the song. Competitive diversity is a bullshit excuse. Wizards should unban Twin and let the players choose. Yeah.
Perfect.
One take Kenobi over here in the booth, yo. John, if you're watching this, I hope you hate this as much as the last jingle, because you're going to be hearing this a lot for the next couple of years. Fuck you, buddy. Milk me. So they go and find Batterskull like everyone always does, without fail, no matter what the matchup is, without thinking. We untap, cast Labia, draw a card, we bauble and mock Opal, and we cast an Everflowing Chalice for 1. They play a Guild of Guin and pass back, keeping up a Stoneforge activation which will allow them to make a Batterskull in the end of our turn, or use the mana during our turn for other things. We just cast an Urza with multiple rocks in play and an outcome in hand, and we are ready to go fucking wild! And they leak the Urza. It's okay, we can do this. This isn't a problem. Then they bolt us in end step. The They pass back after missing a land drop, and we cast a 0-cost Chalice and outcome all of our shit back to our hand. 6 permanents to hand, we draw 6, and now we have a full hand of complete nonsense. We didn't draw an Urza though, but we did find a Sai. We played Bauble, Mox Opal, and Chalice, then we cast a Sai, Master Thopterist. He resolves, and we play the shittest Mox in the history of Moxen, if you don't include Mox Tantalite in that discussion, and in response to the Thopter trigger, they path Sai. Another sad moment. Rip. The Opal resolves and now doesn't tap for any mana because we don't have a legendary creature in play. We cast a Chalice for 0 just to get it into play as we had 8 cards in hand and pass back to our opponent using Bauble and drawing another Chalice in their turn. I know I keep calling it Chalice just for brevity. I mean, that is kind of the shorthand accepted term for Chalice of the Void, and I'm obviously not playing that card. So I'm sorry if you're watching this and be like, every time you hear Chalice, you're thinking Chalice of the Void, because I'm doing the same when I'm reading it back out as I record this. I'll try from now on not to call it Chalice, but call it this shitty artifact. They missed their 4th land drop for the 2nd turn in a row. We cast in Mystic Forge, and we see a Mox Opal on top of the library, and we cast it. We find an island, we Astrolabe to draw it, we then find a Sai, we Astrolabe again to draw that, and find a Tormod's Crypt on top of the library. As you can see, Mystic Forge is a fucking ridiculous magic card. I cast the Crypt and find another island on top of the library. We play this shitty artifact on 1, and then exile the top card of the library, finding a Darksteel Citadel on top. After we've finished masturbating for a little bit, our opponent makes a Batterskull on our end step and untaps. This is some scary stuff. Watch out, it's a 4/4. It's got vigilance. We got a badass over here. No land drop again, and they get in for 5 damage, and we take it. Oof. 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 They then tap out for a Geist of St. Traff that we were actually aware of earlier on from our bauble revealing off the top of their library. We're pretty happy to see them tap out here. We gain a life in our upkeep off the fair and find a bauble on top of the library. We cast Sigh. We cast the bauble and find a Paradoxical Outcome on top of the library. We cast Bauble from our hand and make another Thop Thop. We activate Sigh, sacrificing 2 chalices. We activate Sigh, sacrificing 2 of these shitty artifacts, which is a mistake actually, because we could draw more cards off of them using the Paradoxical Outcome when we cast it. It was strictly correct to sack these 2 fresh-faced summoning sick Thop Thops, but I'm bad at magic, and I apologise for the shame I bring upon this family and this house. We cast Engineered Explosives off the top of our library for 0, which is not only just free real estate, but also for the low cost of 2 mana, kills Batterskull Germs and Geist Angels.
Wrecked.
We see an Urza on top of our library and we're getting ready to use our 4 available mana to Paradoxical Outcome our board back to hand and then recast it all and make a shit ton of Thop Thops, but our opponent just fucking scoops it up. GGEE. In game 2, our opener has a Bauble, Snow Island, a Labia, a Stoneforge Mystic shopfront, so we kept it. They lead Fetch, we lead Labia, which draws us into Saheeli.
Nice.
I fire off all my artifacts whilst I still can, although keeping the Bauble for after we cast Saheeli might have been better, honestly. They play a tap land, meaning we don't have to fear the mana leak. The only thing we have to fear here is perhaps Pierce or Force negation being an issue. We slam Saheeli and she sticks.
Nice.
Play an Opal in hand, sacking the old one and netting us over in the process. We pass back Colonnade, Stoneforge, Batterskull to hand. We draw part of our sideboard plan, which is more walkers to shit on control and mid-range strategies. We cast the Forge again, find nothing, exile the top card of our deck, find nothing. We then transform our Astrolabe into another Forge, tap it to exile a land off the top again, sick skills mate, and find an Astrolabe we can't cast because we don't have the fucking mana.
Nice.
Our opponent untaps and bolts and kills Saheeli, which is fucking rude. Astrolabe draws us deeper and we find an ever-flowing piece of shit. We cast the ever-flowing shards off the top of our library, then use Narset to dig deeper. We find 2 Paradoxical Outcomes and an Aether Grid, and I feel bad because I just want all these things. We want a Paradoxical Outcome for the card advantage, we want the grid to kill them. Paradoxical will allow us to draw into lots of gas, but ultimately the Aether Grid can keep their creatures in check and just eventually kill them too, which is an important part of what I like to call winning.
Winning? It's how you perceive it.
We grab the grid, and thanks to resetting the top of our library with Narset, we find a Mishra's Bauble on top. You see, anything that fucks the top of your library, from Brainstorms to Jaces to Narsets, are just good with this Mystic Forge nonsense. We play Bauble, target them, and find a Ghost Quarter on top. I don't exile it with Forge for some reason. Maybe I, at the time, wanted a land drop. I don't actually remember why. Opponent opts in our end set, possibly looking to set up land drops. They opted to do this instead of making a Batterskull, but also, they can't draw the card off the op because of the Narset.
Wrecked.
We draw the Ghost Quarter off the Bauble trigger in their turn and find a Mox Opal underneath it. That means that exiling the Ghost Quarter on our turn would have been pretty much 100% correct to do, but whatever. They make a 4th land drop and we cash in our other Bauble. On our turn, we draw Mox Amber and a Paradoxical Outcome off of the Bauble. I float a red off of my Mox Opal and play the one on top of my deck. Ideally, I want to play Ichor Wellspring, draw the Urza, and then play it to make a load of mana and then Paradoxical Outcome. But this 4 mana up and need to hit a land drop just screams counter magic to me. They could have 2 leaks in hand. They could have a leak plus a snare or something. It could also just be Cryptic Command. I decided to bait with Aether Grid, and lo and behold, it's Cryptic Command. I play the Amber and then cast a Paradoxical Outcome I know is going to resolve. I float a Snow in order to play Astrolabes off of a Chained Mana Rocks post Paradoxical Outcome as well. Because, you know, I'm fucking so good at this game, you know? I get to draw 5 cards. I use the Floating Mana and another Opal and an Amber to cast Urza. They have seen enough. They scoop it up. And we get the win. It's interesting that we never actually had to activate Urza at any point. He just needed to kind of show up, and that was enough to upset our opponent. And now, Magic the Gathering lore with PleasantKenobi and the Professor. Brian, have you ever thought that when Nicol Bolas takes a shit, it's like roughly going to be the size of Gideon?
Have you ever thought about how big is Nicol Bolas's penis?
Do you think Fibblefip's piss might smell weird?
I think his piss probably smells exactly like it tastes.
Experiment with Frenzy says that Ravnicans have coffee. Do you reckon they have frenzied coffee shits afterwards?
Do you think that they have Ravnican heroin?
Dominaria's got magic mushrooms, so
Humans in the magic world have sex, right?
I would hope so, yes.
They have fetishes, right?
Oh no.
So wouldn't those humans be really into giants? Like giant feet?
Do you reckon some of those giants like wrap up people in like baby outfits and cradle them? It's like sort of like weird baby thing.
I think that's a thing here.
No. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Google Nicol Bolas's giant penis.
There's no way there's a rendering of Nicol Bolas's penis on.
I've seen bigger.
Island and Astrolabe, snap fucking keep. Stomping Ground suspends a search for tomorrow, guaranteeing this is some form of Scapeshift big mana combo, but can we beat that is the question. Ichor Wellspring draws us into another Opal and we pass back. Farseek from them. I power out a turn 3 Urza off the back of a Mox Opal and then cast a Sigh, making 3 blue mana out of the Metallic Blob, the Wannabe Golem, and some Labia. Magic is weird. We cast the second Opal in hand, making a Thopter and pass back. Search resolves, they cast another Search and make a rather important land drop this turn. It's Valakut. Every mountain from here on out is a bolt. Audible gasp. And then to finish their turn, they cast a Steve. Hi Steve. Hi Vince. If we let them untap and they have Scapeshift or a Titan, we could just lose the games. They would either shoot us to death or best case scenario blow up all our lovely degenerate artifact payoff commanders. We play Mox Amber, netting an extra Thopter. We do not cast the Astrolabe because it's an important part of what's about to happen. We use Inventor's Fair to search up Paradox Engine. We then generate a ton of mana using Urza's ability to tap all our artifacts for blue mana. Yep, these are all Mox Sapphires. Seems fair. With it on the stack, we're currently tapped out of snow mana and can't cast as Astrolabia. But wait, this Astrolabe in play will solve that problem. Both the engine and the Thopter it brings in are essentially one big and small Mox Sapphires. We can then filter the mana through our Labia to power out the engine and untap all of these wonderful, wonderful artifacts by casting the Labia in our hand. From there, we cast a spell for every 5 mana available thanks to Urza. As long as we don't somehow hit multiple lands in a row off the inherent random element of his ability, we will untap each time, netting more and more mana. Labia untaps everything, makes a Thopter, and finds a Bauble. We float a shit ton of mana and cast Bauble. 24 mana in pool at this point, we spin that fucking wheel. Oh look, a $2 Mox Sapphire. Yeehaw, cowboy. We sink some mana into it and our opponent sinks their cursor into the concession button. GG Paradox Engine E. For those of you who don't know, Engine was recently banned in EDH, less than a week after I had explained and demonstrated its busted combo potential in an Urza EDH video that I'll link in the cards in the description below. I'm not saying I have supernatural powers over the banned and restricted list, but I'm also not saying that. Our opener doesn't have the colourless baby of Serum Visions and Birds of Paradise. I'm talking about Astrolabe there. But it's just one artifact of being an online Opal. It has Urza and a grid and a piece of cyborg tech, so I keep it. On turn 2 we draw Labia, but alongside it we have drawn an Engine and a Paradoxical Outcome. So we're spinning our wheels a little bit with lots of clunky 4 and 5 drops in hand. Our opponent does what any self-respecting Scapeshift player would do. Follow the linear crib sheet of check hand for ramp spell, have ramp spell, then cast ramp spell. It really is a nuanced deck full of complex decisions of do I cast Farseek or do I cast Search for Tomorrow. We untap and slam on Urza. This also means we have Disdainful Stroke up for Scapeshift or Prime Time, or even a Stray through the breach, thanks to being able to tap these artifacts for blue mana. Instead they Vexage my Golem and I feel a little bit upset to see the fellow go. He was not long for this world. Disclaimer, he isn't a golem, he's actually a poor man's golem, a shitty construct. Our Wellspring draws us an Echo in Truth, who is here to bounce, collect a Oost if we see one, or save our own permanents from removal, and we cast Aether Grid, holding up Disdainful Stroke or Truth to protect the Urza. Our opponent, lo and behold, tries to resolve a Titan, to which we respond, not today, Satan. With Valakut in play, they play down a Lightning Bolt in a can and swing with Vexage. We of course do not block. If we blocked, then the Valakut could have shot our Urza dead. Urza lives to tap artifacts for an absurd amount of mana another day. We draw yet more sideboard tech in Force of Negation, which is great against Shift and terrible against Titan. We then Paradoxical Outcome our ship for 3 extra cards. We find a land drop and Saheeli and we cast her. These Labias and Opals bring friends with them. I then cast Engine and then cast Ichor Wellspring to continue going absolutely fucking mad. We start firing off Urza's Mind's Desirability and untapping and making ludicrous amounts of mana. Eventually we just machine gun them to death with Aether Grid. I know I joked a moment ago that, you know, not today Satan when countering their green Titan suggests that they're the villain, but maybe, just maybe we're the devil in this analogy.
Are we the baddies?
I've got more gameplay coming, more rounds coming up, but if you enjoy my content and want to help me keep making it as a full-time content creator, then the easiest way to support me directly is to sign up to my Patreon. For just $2 a month you get access to my Discord, which is a hellish nightmare world of memes and nonsense and inside jokes that even I don't understand. The salmon has no agenda. The highest tier get to be involved with weekly voice chats where we talk shit, brew decks and banter. They also get to submit decks for me to play on stream and in videos. This has led to memorable streams and videos like Combo Goblins, Planeswalker Dredge, Splicer Tribal, Tron and Taxes, and many more. And from that list, as you can tell, no one's of the decks have to actually be good. So what are you waiting for? Link in the description below. Help support me doing this full time. Soon I hope to make the push to grow my Patreon to facilitate things like getting an editor on board to allow my content to be put out more regularly and similar stuff to help grow the channel. So look out for that all happening soon, or get involved with that now by helping me to do that. The revamp is coming, and I'm not joking. There will be a foot picture tier on my Patreon. Okay, so the footage for round 3 was corrupted for some reason, so we're running off a replay, which isn't ideal, but I can work with this. We keep double labia and lead with labia. They also lead with labia. Is this the mirror? They open with Bauble, Opal and Labia. We play Opal and Labia number 2. This game goes for a while. They are actually a 3 or 4 colour Urza list. They look to hide behind a bridge and end up worrying for a Dampening Sphere to slow me down because I'm quite a bit ahead. And it works because we have turns where we could go absolutely fucking wild. Like those videos from the 90s where women would get their tits out at spring break, but wilder. Perhaps Gene wilder. Our opponent gets their Foundry into play, and then in order to needle our Urza and dump the majority of the hand, needling the Urza will turn off the 5 mana ability, but not the mana ability, importantly. They sack the Dampening Sphere to their Thopter Foundry in order to play all this, and empty their hand to 1 card. This was a heinous mistake. We untap, and we open up the PO box. And what do we find inside? Value. After a few minutes of masturbating, they have seen enough and they scoop it up. Essentially, we got to Paradoxical Outcome our shit and start replaying it and all this stuff because Dampening Sphere was dead. Against this deck, do not, I repeat, do not just randomly sacrifice your Dampening Spheres because it will get you killed. Game 2, they land their sword and Assassin's Trophy our Sai on their turn, so we don't get to untap with him and cast the Urza. We untap, cast Urza, then use Urza's ability to make mana to cast another Urza. Because I heard you like Urzas, so I put Urzas. Old meme alert! Old meme alert! Stop, Vince! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Anyway, we do this to make multiple golems so we can beat the shit out of our opponent. They tap out for Urza and then spin that wheel. Oh, it's a Scolding time. Unfortunate. On our turn, we go a bit mad with Paradoxical Outcome. We eventually attack with 2 8/8s with a full grip of cards. They untap, land the good Tezzeret, and uptick, and they find the Foundry just in the nick of time. For those of you that don't know, Urza allows the sword itself to tap for a blue mana. So Sword of the Meek and the Foundry make infinite life and infinite tokens when Urza is in play. It's a pretty good combo. It's reminiscent of Splinter Twin, honestly. Splinter Twin did nothing wrong. Don't forget the lyrics to the song. Competitive diversity is a bullshit excuse. Wizards should unban Twin and let the players choose. Yeah.
Perfect.
One take Kenobi over here in the booth, yo. But in the end, no matter how hard they tried, it doesn't even matter because we have Force Negation, freshly drawn last turn in hand. So we get to surprise counter the Foundry whilst we're tapped out, and we're loving life. They play an Engineer, they put another Foundry in the bin. Our replay ends there for some reason, but what happens in the full game is we just echo in truth one of their blockers and slap them with a big fucking boy. Onwards and upwards. Just to let you all know, by the way, I will be in the Loading Ready Run pre-release on Friday the 20th of September. That's right, tune in to watch me play Throne of Eldraine and not swear live on Loading Ready Run's Twitch channel.
Hey, listen!
In round 4, they stirrings into an Opal, which this appears to be Hardened Scales Affinity. They're starting to do some stuff, but our near endless supply of Thopters means they can't commit to an Inkmoth attack early in the game because we can block it down and kill it. They really need a walking ballista to get past this. They stick a Ravager and we stick an Urza. They widen their board state with another Hangerback Walker. We untap, invent a Sphere for Paradox Engine, then cast a grid to untap all our shit. We are ready to go wild and go off, but we need to find a spell with that first randomized Urza activation. Nope, we tapped a load of stuff and hit a land, and only a land. We can't make a second attempt as we are 1 mana short, but keeping the blockers around is also important so that we don't just fucking die. We're forced to hand though because If we get to untap, we might just go infinite. It's a very high possibility chance that we will just fucking explode like a fountain of cum. So they play a hardened scales and turn everything, including the ink moth, sideways. This is one hell of a board set. I'm going to pause here. How do I not die? I do have the grid still, but they also have a Ravager, and a Welding Jar, and a flying vet creature. I want you at home to take a moment to try and guess, do you think I am dead? Looking at this board state, am I dead or no? I put this to Twitter, and it was impressive how many people got it wrong and how many people got it right, but all for the wrong reasons. So am I dead or not? Don't forget, I'll give you a few more moments to decide. Please show you're working, otherwise you only get half the marks on the test at the end. If you're like me and think math is for nerds, take this time to take a quick breather and consider how much you love me. Once you have that warm glow in your mind and your heart, why not scroll down and click on the Patreon link to PleasantKenobi's Patreon to help support PleasantKenobi. Don't know why I'm referring to myself in the third person. Anyway, let's move on. I block like this and they begin to sack shit, but realize they cannot kill me and they scoop. Essentially, they couldn't do the full 21 to me with the unblocked creatures without going all in on the Ravager, but I had 2 pings available because I had 4 untapped artifacts to play with my Aether Grid. I can ping in response to the Arcbound Ravager death trigger, then they can regenerate with the jar, which I can then ping again in response to. But more importantly, the jar would regenerate the creature, which takes it out of combat. So even without the second ping, that creature would no longer be in combat and wouldn't kill me. Mind-blowing plays with PleasantKenobi. It's not really that mind-blowing, but I'm just surprised by how many people don't understand what regenerate does. And that's fair enough. I guess it's just not been taught very well. It's not very intuitive either. In game 2, we open with a spell sky, which is exciting because it can steal modular triggered abilities off of like the Ravager dying, for example, because it doesn't specify that goes on a creature you control. So I can pay the mana and take the tokens from your Ravager. Then they just fucking dismember it anyway. We play a Sign, they play a Ravager onto the board with 2 hardened scales in play. So it's a 3-3. Fuck my life. We Spyglass the Ravager to slow them down so we can handle it. But as the game goes on, we draw shit all. I start panic sacking artifacts to side, dig for gas, but aside from 1 Galvanic Blast, which sucks against these modular threats, we draw nothing but a rock and some lands. And then we die. In game 3, we keep a slow hand and plod towards a Sign on turn 3, which gets dismembered immediately after we cast our explosives for 1. They play an Ink Moth Nexus. We need to draw a blue source to cast Urza, or we might be spinning our wheels, and boom, there it is. But oh wait, you think Ghost Quarter is a colourless source? Oh mere mortals, feast your eyes on this sick tech, bruv. We play it, Ghost Quarter our own indestructible Darksteel Citadel that sticks around, and resolve the Ghost Quarter trigger, getting ourselves an island for our trouble. And boom, Urza. We play Urza, use Urza to make 4 blue mana, and we Paradoxical Outcome, drawing 3. We recast the majority of our hand, including a Sigh. I decide not to cast the Ica Wellspring, as to keep flying blockers up for this Ink Moth Nexus, forgetting that Sigh means that if we were to cast the Ica Wellspring, we'd get a flying blocker anyway. Sometimes I'm fucking bad at this game. They dismember my blocker, and on their turn, Stirrings for a land, play Scales, and a 3-3 Hangerback Walker. We play some artifacts, including this cheap Mox Sapphire, and an EE on 1. We activate Urza twice, and with both times, Big Construct goes in and our opponent blocks. They crack their peatland, play a Mimic and pass, and we draw and cast a Jace, which I sided into just as an expensive unsummon in the board stores. We Jace Storm, play a Labia, sack some artifacts including the Inkwell to draw 2 cards with Sigh. We attack with the constructs, they chump it. We draw more cards with Sigh, find a PO, and then detonate EE, blowing up the scales. They take a draw and then scoop it up. Okay, round 5, we're 4-0. I better keep this really bad hand with no blue mana to sabotage my chances of a 5-0, right? Our hand doesn't do much for 3 turns. They play an Eidolon of the Great Revels or 2, which means randomly comboing off is out of the fucking equation now. When I watched the Gabriel Nassif video where he played a similar list to this on Channel 5 back when Hogak was legal, he said that Burn was one of the hardest matchups, and I don't think he's wrong, honestly. We almost stabilized as we eventually drew the blue source with an Urza creating a huge roadblock and our Inventor's Fair gaining us life every turn, but a Skullcrack sends a message and puts us to 2 and stops us gaining life in one of the turns. We can't cast any of the stuff in our hand besides the engine and the forge, so we hope our opponent will brick on burn spells for like 3, 4, maybe 5 turns in a row. The problem with stabilizing on 2 or 3 life against burn is the inevitability. Everything in their deck, barring lands, is there to fucking kill you, doing damage, 2 damage, 3 damage, 4 damage. The chance of them bricking on multiple draw steps is incredibly low and gets less and less likely as time goes on. There's just inevitability to it. In the end, we just die. Our sideboard options are bad, nothing to combat burn, no Batterskull, no Wormclaw, no Orbs of Warding, or Dragon's Claw. I keep a load of lands and a spell snare off the strength of just stopping an Eidolon, which is fucking terrible in hindsight. The rough matchup wasn't the only reason I lost this match. It's not like perhaps I got tired by the end of the league. or maybe this pressure of getting a 5-0 for this video got to me. Maybe I self-sabotaged. Maybe I'm just a fucking idiot. We've resolved a turn 4 Paradoxical Outcome with little mana left over to do anything with it, so although it helps us to sculpt our hand, it doesn't get us very far ahead or develop our board. On 6th life we cast a Sigh and make 3 Thopters of all this junk, which looks like we might begin to stabilise, but then we die to 2 different varieties of 3 damage to the face. GG burn E. A 4-1 overall is pretty good, and the deck feels very powerful and very fun to play. I could have perhaps got a better result if I had mulliganed better against Burn and perhaps had a sideboard plan ready for them. Then again, I got quite lucky in my first round too, with our opponent missing land drops, so, you know, swings and roundabouts. Variance is just part of Magic. This deck is incredibly fun. It's able to go toe-to-toe with the big boys and girls of the format and can both grind and combo kill your opponent. Urza is a ludicrously strong Magic card, as is Mox Opal. I can see a world where one of these two isn't in the format for much longer. Who would have thought that being able to turn all your artifacts into Mox Sapphires, or effectively having access to Tolarian Academy in Modern that doesn't need to tap all at once and brings a potentially huge body with it, and the ability to fire off a single shot Mind's Desire would be good? Huh. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Drop me a comment down below letting me know what your favourite part of the video was, or what you think of the deck. What would you do to improve it? Is there something I did wrong? What would you like to see on the channel in future? Make sure you've liked the video down below and subscribed to the channel. If you want to support me directly and, like I said, help the channel grow, then you can click the Patreon link down below. $2 a month gets you onto the Discord server where we have some real good fun. Yeah, come support me. Until next time, be good to one another. Think of me when you next finger blast yourself. And yeah, stay safe. Ta-ta for now. God, this is going to take ages, isn't it? I want to be good. Hi, I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. I am the Magic the Gathering content creating equivalent of writing up, edit. Fuck!
Have you ever thought about how big is Nicol Bolas's penis?
What's the card in fucking... What's the statue called in War of the Spark?
I didn't do a clap to sync. Just find that at the end, I guess. Right, I'll do one more. Hopefully you'll enjoy. Oh, that! Oh no, that was the tripod I got rid of.
No, Connor! Get out of my video! Wait, is that my shed?
You would have thought with 3 years of improv training, I'll be a little more ready to improvise some funny things that are effectively a pastiche of my own channel. But the answer may surprise you, I'm not.